the ultimate Barner.
War Eagle, baby!
War Eagle.
War Eagle, hey!
The lifelong Bammer.
Roll Tide, Bama Nation.
Roll Tide. This is the Tigers and Tide podcast. All the latest news from Auburn, Alabama, and the SEC. Here are your hosts, Brett Mason and Jamie Thomas.
Here we go. Brett Mason, Jamie Thomas, and ready to talk some Alabama and Auburn football this week. War Eagle, brother.
Roll Tide, buddy.
So, I don't have a lot to talk about from this weekend. I mean, I could talk about the Florida game or the referees or some stuff like that, but Auburn didn't actually play. So, I guess we can talk about Alabama. It was a reasonably impressive showing this weekend. As an Alabama fan, what you think about it?
I mean, I guess, the final score was pretty impressive. Team looked a little bit sluggish, in my opinion. Really didn't come out with that intensity we like to see. One thing that still troubles me is there seems to be a lot of miscommunication, a lot of not what's going on at the line of scrimmage. I know Blake Sims has pretty much established himself as the starter for Alabama. And, he made some better decisions, some better throws Saturday against Southern Miss. He's getting better every week. The one deep ball that he tried to throw was actually a pretty good pass. He just waited a little too long to chunk the football. Had he thrown it a couple of seconds earlier, it probably would have been just right. But the biggest problem I see with him right now is the lack of communication in the huddle and then at the line of scrimmage. You see a lot of running around. There's a lot of movement up until the play clock gets down to 3 or 4 seconds, and then you just see a lot of scrambling to try to get the ball snapped. And I think at home maybe not so bad, but once you get into an hostile environment, playing some teams on the road, I think that's going to cause some problems.
Well, the big story blowing up on the Tigers and Tide Facebook page and tigersandtide.net is this story about, in case y'all didn't know it, y'all have the best quarterback in the SEC, man.
We have the statistically best quarterback in the SEC, and that's through 3 games against, I guess, really nobody.
It's funny because I had 2 private messages today. Somebody lightened me up saying what a bunch of Bammer homers must be running the website with that kind of fluff. I'm like, look, dude, the statistics don't lie. We can debate whether those statistics means he's actually the best quarterback, but the statistics are what they are, and that's all the story is about. So, so it's been fun to talk about.
You're a Bammer homer and all of a sudden now?
I guess so.
Welcome to the bandwagon.
So anyway, we're going to do a different podcast later in the week where we'll talk about Alabama, Florida. We'll have a full podcast devoted just to that game that we'll try to get out early Friday morning. So come back. Make sure you download the app, by the way. We haven't mentioned that. We have a new app. It's iOS only, but you can get that on the App Store. It's free, and all the podcasts automatically show up for you. So we got a Thursday night, quote unquote, I'll be glad when this game is over so I can stop using the phrase trap game, Auburn against Kansas State. I don't think it's going to be that huge of a game. It is like a national champion. I did a story on the blog earlier a few days ago about how this is like a national championship game for Kansas State. Now, granted, they're ranked 20th or something, and they're not a horrible team. But, I mean, this is big time for them. And last year, Auburn played a big-time game week after week, it seemed like. It's not that big a deal to them. If there's any trap, I think that's the trap, that they take it too lightly.
I don't think it's a trap game. I think this sets up well for Auburn being a Thursday night game coming off an off week. If it was a short week for them, only had a couple of days to prepare, then I would think Kansas State might have a little bit of an advantage. But I promise you, Malzahn has got something up his sleeve for going into that environment at Kansas State. Bill Snyder's a great coach. If anybody in the nation can have his team ready to play against a team like Auburn, it's him. But again, I mean, this Auburn offense is, until somebody stops them, I'm going to give them the advantage.
Well, I tell you, that Jake Waters kid over there on Kansas State, he's a pretty decent-looking quarterback. I watched some of the stuff from the games that they played. I think he's pretty solid. They're kind of 50-50. If you look at their stats, they try to be a 50-50 run-pass team.
Well, he's the leading passer and the leading rusher on that football team. So, I mean, he's kind of a Nick Marshall-type quarterback.
He is. He's very talented. His story's impressive, too, how he didn't make the cut and had to go through a junior college or whatever it was, state college. I mean, he's got a great story. He's a great kid, and the team is really good. I tell you what, I think, again, Auburn's going to have problems defending passing is what we have a huge problem with. If we can get play against teams that aren't that proficient at passing, it allows us to really stack up and attack the run heavily, and we're successful. When we have to spread it out 50-50 seems to be like when Auburn doesn't really do their best. I'm hoping the extra time has allowed Ellis Johnson to get in there and work on some of those secondary issues, corner issues. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, they haven't played any SEC caliber talent, I would say that, but I mean, they're averaging like 14 yards a touch passing, which could give Auburn some problems, and that'll be what I'll be looking for.
Yeah, that's the I guess the X factor in the game is Auburn secondary. I don't know. I think Kansas State, in order to win this game, is going to have to put 50 points up on the board, and I just don't see them being able to score that much. I think Auburn's going to wear them down. I mean, I'm looking for 50 plus out of Auburn in this game, and I think in Kansas State, the most they can probably muster 30 or 35.
Well, we get Sammy Coates back, which is good news. I guess he's going to be 100%. They haven't just come out and said he's 100%, but he's going to suit up and play. So that'll be good. When you got him and you got Duke Williams out there in the passing scheme, and you got the running back stable that we have, 50 points wouldn't surprise me, and I'd be a happy Auburn fan.
Yeah, I'm sure all the Auburn fans will be. They get past this trap game and move on to the next one, they'll be real happy.
Well, it just gets worse from there, too. God, the gauntlet that's coming up for Auburn, which we'll talk about next week after we survive this game. So that's what things are looking like, shaping up for the Alabama-Florida game this weekend. We got Auburn this Thursday night. We'll do another podcast later in the week. You guys check that out. Download the app, bookmark our website, share our fan page on Facebook and all that stuff, and we're going to continue to have more fun as the season goes on. I'm pumped up about it.
Oh, man, we're getting into the meat of the season, and this is just where it gets better right here.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you again for the big podcast on Friday. Sound good?
Sound good.
War Eagle.
Roll Tide.
Tigers and Tide is a weekly podcast covering football in the state of Alabama and the SEC. We don't claim to be football gurus or talking heads. We're fans just like you. If you like the show, please take a moment to share the link to this episode on your Facebook page. And don't forget to like our page at facebook.com/Tigers and Tide. That's facebook.com/Tigers and Tide. Have a great weekend and War Eagle. And Roll Tide.